4 blocks. And for the season, Davis is the only player averaging 20 points and 2 blocks per game. So here's LeBron and Vogel with more on Davis's impact.
Just his presence alone. He just makes our team so much more complete. Our length defensively, our ability to really get up in people's faces because we know we got him at the rim, or our ability to switch a lot of things because he can literally guard 1 through 5. He's such a dynamic player.
He really changed things for us defensively at the rim with his hands, with his deflections. Obviously not a big scoring night, but you know, his anchor to our defense is something that's been sorely missed.
All right, so we heard the word presence a whole lot in that, especially when it comes to AD's defense. But Chiney, presence in practice on the court, what does that actually look like?
Well, his opponents went 2 for 10 from the field when he was guarding him. So roll me my tape, producer Kwaku, baby, and shout out to producer Greg as well. Producer G. All right, his ability to switch is underrated, especially as a big man. Watch his footwork. Richard, you can jump in here too. He stays on the toes of his feet, not on his heels, and that's why he's able to chase down shots.
Yeah, and look, Cam Thomas is extremely shifty, but look, right here, what do you see right here? Talk to him.
On-ball defense, backyard basketball, and the fact that you don't have to send help is fantastic. Guarding James Harden and making him frustrated.
One of the best one-on-one players in this league, and if you can put your big on him, that helps things out.
And this is my favorite part, help defense. This is what the Lakers have been missing, especially when it comes to the paint, as you'll see right there. He has his eyes on the ball. Everyone knows James Harden wants to go left with his left hand, but he sees the play happening. He makes the help defensive stop. He had 4 blocks last night, and this is exactly what you need if you're energy for the Lakers.
Yeah, you get a layup by Russ, because that's what defense can lead to offense. You get a couple easy buckets, and also THT showing his hands because he knows he's got a big man behind him that can clean up any mistake. So his presence, that is a proper word to use.
And this is a time where people will wake up and say, oh, what did AD do last night? It's like, oh, 3 for 8. No, the energy was there from tip. It was not just that offensive dunk. It was the presence in the paint defensively. And I have a feeling, Malika, you do so much work. I feel like you got to prep a little bit for the next segment.
There's a lot we got in this show.
Okay.
I think JJ wants to show us something really quick.
God, this dude gets here. He's here 2 days.
Trying to take over our court.
Stuff. It's like, what you got, JJ?
I need someone to guard me real quick.
Okay, done. That's because we know that ain't Perk.
RJ wants to guard me. All right. Yeah, I know my role. I know my role. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's really nice.
Okay,
really nice. Look, when they traded for Russell Westbrook, they lost 2 of their best wing defenders in KCP and Kyle Kuzma. What Anthony Davis provides as a help defender is a safety valve to make up for their defense on the wing.
Okay.
And we saw that last night in transition. Look, James Harden, elite Euro step in transition. AD sprinting back on defense. Harden tries to get to his Euro.
Shows his hand.
Lays it up.
Oh, my God. You gonna break it.
Get it out of here.
First of all, we ain't seen a block like that since 2010 from Perks. That was impressive.
You actually did block my floater like that in 2010.
It's all good.
I went off it right.
I was a 6 pound.
That was not all good. But, no, to your point, and to add to it, when you know you have that presence behind you, you play with DeAndre Jordan, you didn't play
Dwight
with
Howard.
Dwight Howard.
Yep.
So when you have that presence, you know, I just need to keep my hands up. I don't need to foul. I don't need to do anything. I just can't make sure you just don't lay it up that easy.
You're not afraid of getting beat when you have AD behind the helicopter.
But you know the great thing about it is who had the first bucket for the Lakers last night? It was a lob for AD. They got him going, and guess what he did? He started anchoring the defense. I thought I warned y'all about that yesterday.
Yeah, feed the big man early, right? But at some point in time, you got to stop feeding the big man.
Leave him
and figuratively. Literally and figuratively.
I'm not going to participate in that, Perk. I'm not going to participate in that.
Okay, whatever. Fine. Malika, you got this.
He's doing it, and he's picking his spots. The great thing about Devin Booker is that he don't force the issue. He played team ball. Look, he had, 26 at half, so he wasn't trying to force it. But the thing I love about Devin Booker is his passion, that Mamba mentality. He don't care who's in front.
43, not 45 points, Perk. I won it. I won the bet.
Well, and then the Mavs, they also keep winning. They beat Portland, and they're now 11-3 in January. That's the second best record in the NBA behind the Suns. Luka Doncic finished with another triple-double. So, Chiney, do you believe in this Mavs squad yet?
Your girl's from Texas, so of course I believe in the Mavs. But more importantly, they did not have an easy start to the season, but they are picking steam at the right time. So look to them to be one of those playoff teams.
Well, speaking of steam, the Grizzlies beat the Spurs for the 4th straight time. Ja Morant showed out, 41-point performance. Perk, the floor is yours.
I mean, you know, I want to come up here. I want to stand on top of the table. I want to talk a whole lot of noise.
It's fragile.
But I'm not. Look, I'm just taking y'all to the dark side right now.
Okay.
G12 is on a mission. And look, he had a point to prove. He had a point to prove. He had a point to prove.
And he proved it. You know who else proved their point? The Hornets, because they scored a franchise record 158 points against the Pacers. LaMelo Ball had a triple-double, and Kelly Oubre scored 39 points off of the bench, becoming the fourth player with 10 three-pointers off the bench in NBA history. So, Chiney, is Oubre making a case for Sixth Man of the Year?
To be in the conversation, we all are in hero world as well. I would like to mention Kevin Love, too, but I love Wave Poppy. He's one of the fan favorites of the NBA, so when he's getting buckets, we pay attention. Shout out to Kelly.
Well, and then the Cavs, they beat the defending champion Bucks, forcing Giannis to 7 turnovers. And Cleveland is now 30-19 and the third in the East. Time for my favorite new segment, Producer Perk. So when Perk tweets at me what should be in the show, and that's what happened last night, that was about the Cavs. So, Producer Perk, what do you want to talk about? What was your tweet?
I'm about to tell you what my tweet was. My tweet was, the Cavs got the it factor. It's must we talk about Cleveland tomorrow on NBA Today. Ain't that right? At Malika Andrews.
He added you, Malika.
And
I know.
carry the hell on.
Yeah.
And that's right. I'm producer. I want you all to hear what Giannis had to say about the Cavs last night, too, while he was eating them good chicken wings they be having in Cleveland.
What you guys got?
So the first time you saw them in early December, Chris at postgame was like, that's a much better team, and Cleveland's got something going. So what? Obviously they played well tonight. What did you see from them? Maybe come in the cut-ups, and then what did you see tonight?
We sucked. They played bad. They made shots. They played good. They played better than us.
I mean, what do you think of those? The wings plus the sentiment, Big Perk?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you look at this Cavs team, I'm watching them. They have these twin towers, okay, and Allen and Mobley. And the way that they're protecting the basket is something beautiful to watch. They might be the best defensive tandem for his bigs in the NBA. Mobley, he's winning Rookie of the Year. But then you have the setup guy in Garland. Look, Garland is a phenomenal talent. Something about Garland says superstar written all over it, okay? He's going to be a first-time All-Star. Then you have a bench, and they have wings, okay? They have wings, athletic wings. When you talk about that they drafted, Forza Kuro, Cedi Osman, those guys to that nature. But then they have a Coach of the Year candidate. But when I look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, hear me out, in the Eastern Conference, their ceiling is the conference finals. No team in the East want to see them in the first or the second round. I'm saying it here right now.
Okay, so that's in the playoffs, but the Cavs, they've won 3 straight now. They sit at third in the East. So back it up for just a second, Vince Carter, before we get to that going to the Eastern Finals. I'll just bring it back 1 sec. What do you attribute their successes to this season, Vince?
Everybody has bought into Coach J.B. Bickerstaff first and foremost. They bought into what he's preaching, what he's brought to the table. Hey, if he said everybody's going to eat, everybody's going to have success if we play together and buy in. And oh, by the way, I agree with you. Evan Mobley is playing at an all-star, Rookie of the Year level. Yeah, I think he can win it. Garland will definitely make an all-star, or should. And the Twin Towers, like you said, I mean, I feel like Perk and I sat and we wrote this together because he's the same sentiments. And you got to show some love to the old fella, Kevin Love, because from the beginning of the year, we were like, maybe he's done. And, they're trying to move him and being a role player. But now we're looking at Kevin Love and saying, wait a minute, new life here. And he's coming off the bench, balling for these guys. Kevin Love is just playing outstanding basketball. And every time you look at the standings, you see the Cavs have won, and then you look at that number, that stat line, and see Kevin Love is just getting it done because he's a champion. He knows what it takes. He knows how to win, and they trust him coming off with the second unit being the go-to guy.
And Kevin Love has gone through it, publicly with his basketball career, and he's been a huge advocate as well for mental health. And this reminds me of something that you've said, Perk, time and time again, because that's the essence of Perk when it comes to hooping. Be a star in your role. And they have so many players that are stars in their roles, taking whatever their ego is and throwing it out the door, including Kevin Love, and realizing this is the best position not only for me, but also for my entire team. So whether it is Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Kevin Love, they've all put the ego, you know what they say as coaches, you know, JB Bickerstaff, check the ego at the door. And guess what? On the other side of fear of that is freedom, and they are balling now. Park. I don't know about that Eastern Conference.
I was going to say, what do you think their ceiling is in the East? Because it's one thing to be at third at this point in the regular season. We heard what Big Perk had to say.
Yeah,
so.
I like to walk before I run, but my man is a sprinter.
Oh, yeah, he's going.
But I will like to say that based on everything we have seen so far, they consistently have been at the top of the East this season. So they're in the playoffs. They win around. I think that they can surprise some people. Maybe not so much as the Hawks last year in the East, but maybe build that requisite experience where I love the quote. I can't remember which player said it, but they were like, you know what? We're trying to create our own identity in Cleveland separate from LeBron.
Well,
and that's exactly what you're saying.
Right. I do want to stick with the Cavaliers here, but I want to bring in senior writer Brian Windhorst to talk about them a little bit more. Windy, the trade deadline, it's February 10th. So what's Cleveland's plan as the deadline approaches?
I can't believe Perk passed on saying that Kevin Love gave Giannis a 25-piece wing dinger. I thought that was on the T-shirt.
I left it for you. I left it for you, Wendy.
You'll never get video like that again.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
Thank you. So the Cavs are one of the most active teams, Malika, because you have to realize they're down 3 starter quality players in Colin Sexton, Ricky Rubio, both likely done for the year, and Lauri Markkanen, who they haven't given an injury update, but he had a terrible ankle sprain. He's going to be out an extended period. They have 5 pieces that they could use in a trade. One of them they were given today. Today they were granted a $9 million disabled player exception by the league for the Ricky Rubio season-ending ACL. They can use that to trade for a player with 1 year left on his contract. League executives believe a main target for that will be Dennis Schroeder, who fits into that trade exception. Such a trade would potentially take the Celtics below the luxury tax, and he could help them on the perimeter. But from what I believe and what I hear, I think the Cavs are going to look for multiple deals at the deadline, including targeting Eric Gordon. They've already had some discussions with the Rockets. The Rockets have told the league that they want a first-round pick for Eric Gordon. The Cavs have Ricky Rubio, who they could trade for him. And they also have 3 picks in this draft, 2 high second-round picks and potentially a late first-round pick, depending on their record. I could see them haggling it out with the Rockets towards the deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to add 2 players between now and February 10th.
Thank you so much, Brian. Please come back a little bit later to talk about Ben Simmons. But as you were speaking, Kendrick Perkins was looking incredulous. I usually call you Producer Perk. Now I'm going to call you General Manager Perk. What do you think of what Wendy just reported?
It's hard for me to go against my guy, Wendy. But, look, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You drafted well. You got your young core. You got the best young big 3 in the NBA. Kobe Altman has done an exceptional job. The scouting department, my guy Weems over there, they're handling their business over there. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Look, you just added a veteran leader in Rajon Rondo, who's going to come in and teach all those guys the ins and outs of how to be a professional on and off the court, the winning ways, the high IQ. I don't know why Cleveland would make moves. Like, I'm loving even the names that don't stick out as much as the manager or the young big 3 like Wade and Okoro. Like, all those guys, man. No, you keep staying pat. Come on, Kobe.
Okay. Okay. Well, I saw Vince Carter was nodding through your entire sermon, so I'm just going to your daily Nets update. So Brooklyn lost their 3rd straight game last night, and this time it was to Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. So Jokic became the 3rd player in NBA history with 6 straight 25-point, 8 rebound, and 8 assist games. And the reigning MVP joins Hall of Famers Michael Jordan and Oscar Robertson on that list. So the Nets, they were without James Harden, who sat out last night with a left hamstring tightness. And Steve Nash said after the game that Harden is day-to-day and that he's hopeful that he's going to play on Saturday against the Warriors in San Francisco. But that wasn't the biggest news surrounding Harden yesterday. So for more on that, I want to bring in our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, because he reported yesterday that Brooklyn would not be fielding calls on Harden at the deadline. But Woj, what's Harden's stance on his future in Brooklyn?
Malika, that's a lot of the reason why Brooklyn is not going to engage teams who would call on James Harden between now and the deadline, including Philadelphia if they called and made an offer, because James Harden has told Nets ownership, management repeatedly that he's committed to being there, that he wants to be there. Certainly free agency looms this summer. If James Harden decides to do that, he's got a decision to make on the option year. He can opt in and do an extension. He can opt out, become a free agent. But I think what James Harden has told management, and then what the big three in Brooklyn continues, what they say publicly is what they say privately, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Harden, that when the three of them are together, they believe this is an unstoppable team, and they're going to have a chance this season when Kevin Durant returns likely next month, to be able to get those guys on the court together and try to win a championship.
Okay, so standing pat for right now. That's what Harden and the Brooklyn Nets seem to be doing as we approach that trade deadline. We've talked about James Harden on this show a whole lot. And as I mentioned yesterday, depending on what he decides to do in this offseason, he could become the NBA's first $60 million man. And for more on that, I'm now joined by our front office insider, Bobby Mark. So, Bobby, you sent me a long email this morning, and basically it outlined some options for Harden. What are those options for Harden and the Nets here?
Yeah, Malika, we're not going to go through all 5 and 6 options.
It was long.
So we're going to simplify it here. I think the first option is that he opts into his contract. It's $47 million, and he signs that $223 million extension with Brooklyn. It would give him a total of $270 million. The second option is, what happens if Brooklyn loses in the second round and James Harden wants nothing to do with the Nets? Well, the landscape this offseason of teams with cap space is not there. There's only really 3 realistic teams: Detroit, Orlando, San Antonio. So what happens if he wants to go to a team like Philadelphia? He could do what Chris Paul did in 2017, opt into his contract and then work with Brooklyn as far as a trade. Now, here's the thing, Malika. Brooklyn holds a ton of leverage, even if Harden does want to get traded. So it's not like they are going to be left with nothing. Certainly a nice package would come in return. So those are the 2 different options I think you're looking at with James Harden.
Okay, thank you so much, Bobby. I appreciate you and your 5 a.m. email. So I'm going to rejoin Perk, Chene, and Vince Carter. But since you two had so much time yesterday to tell me about your thoughts on James Harden, I am going to start with Vince here in our little discussion. What do you think is the best option for James Harden moving forward here, Vince?
I think the best option is patience. He has said he's going to see this season through and then go into the free agent. He wants to test free agency. That's fine. Test free agency because he wants to see what happens this season. And on the other side, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, what's wrong with taking calls? Because if James Harden chooses to go elsewhere, he's out there in free agency seeing what's out there. Well, you should too, because if he leaves, you're left with nothing. So just make sure you know what's going on, or just at least have an idea what the market looks like for James Harden. Yes, he's a dynamic player. So you want to make sure you get something in return. There's going to be nice packages out there, but they want to make sure they get the right pieces to add to this Brooklyn team if they lose James Harden. As far as right now, you just want to keep this ship sailing towards the Eastern Conference Finals because they're very capable of doing so. You just got to keep Durant healthy. You got to keep Harden healthy. And, of course, you got to keep Kyrie healthy because right now, limited games for Kyrie, but you cannot get him injured when the few games that he's playing. So I understand where James Harden is right now. So frustration is setting in. You can see it, but he just has to just weather the storm.
Vince, it was harmonious in the first block of the show when we were chatting. You and Perk looked like you were getting along, and now Perk looks like he couldn't disagree with you more.
No, I actually do agree with Vince. I actually do agree with Vince. I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about this because, look, if it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then damn it, it is a duck. I don't know, do I have to rehearse this again from yesterday? He was supposed to sign a contract extension. It was supposed to go in order. It didn't happen. Okay, now he wants to test free agents. I've never been to free agent market. Okay, but now he's frustrated. Here's the thing, right? a pair of lips could say anything. And it's James' job to go up there and say, yeah, I have an agent. You could talk to him. If you ain't here, come from me, then okay, cool. Well, we didn't heard that story before from James, okay? Here's the thing that I'm going to tell James Harden again, right? Make sure that you weigh your options. You see how things are going right now with the Nets. Make sure when free agency comes, you keep in mind everything that transpired this season and when you got there dealing with Kyrie, the whole situation, and then evaluate it. But I'm not buying that James is just into Brooklyn and all that nonsense. I'm not going for that.
Okay, Chiney, I want to go back to you on Woj's report that they will not be taking calls on Harden at the trade deadline. Is that the correct strategy here?
Absolutely. Right now, that's the correct strategy, just because they're in the middle of a season where this is go time. I know we're approaching All-Star break where, Perk, you know, sometimes you take your foot off the grass for a moment to make sure you're healthy for the final stretch. But James Harden is their best option at having someone top tier on the floor right now play some games. And so, of course, you want to make him feel good. You want to make sure that, all right, hey, we're not taking calls because we need you right now. And I have the numbers, and if you give me a second to find them, Kyrie has played 54
He said
games.
no.
KD has played 62. James Harden has played 78. Right now, if you're the front office, you need that man out there come hell or high water. And so, yes, I understand that, yeah, you would want to be able to have calls and plan for the future. But if you're sending a message to a team where James Harden, even in response to that report, said, hey, guys, I'm trying to win these games, and the situation in which he's trying to win these games are out of his control, like, that is a frustrating point where people are speaking on things where this report is saying, hey, let's get back to business. This man, we need him right now.
Vince, do you want to get Sinead first, or do you want me to get her?
Go, come, get me first.
I get you. Okay, think about this. Think about what the Nets gave up to get James Harden, right? Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, and multiple picks, right? Okay, so when we're talking about the
Not to mention Torian Prince,
all that, why wouldn't you entertain a trade? If James Harden is telling you he's frustrated, he didn't sign the extension, I'm entertaining some trade options.
Even if you know that he can make more money by not signing the extension now and signing it now.
I get all that, but look, man, the man making $300-400 million outside of basketball.
I just want to say one thing. Here's my one thing. So, Sinead, I agree with what you're saying. Perk is, I'm obviously siding with him. But my thing is, you can still take calls. This is not the players taking calls. This is the management. So management, you handle your business behind closed doors, understanding that, yes, all of our chips are right now into this season. But you don't want to get left with your pants hanging down when my man, if he happens to leave, if you would. You know what I'm saying?
Vince, this is what I'm saying. Right now, for the viability of their team, they're saying this right now. That does not mean that won't change in the future, if you know what I mean. Right now, they need him out there to win games because their goal is to be #1 in the East for the playoffs. So they're going to say this knowing that that is still a potential they can have.
This might be one of those situations that's an agree to disagree. I don't know that this is going to get any better, Vince. The upper room. So, Vince, who are today's nominees?
All right, we're not going to waste time. I'm going to welcome everybody to the upper room, but we're going to get right into it. First up, Josh Christopher with the windmill. Let's go. Let's go. Run it. On the break. On the fast break, you get time to think about it. He just levels with the lefty.
You don't see that in games that often.
I see you.
Look at that. I mean, he's looking at the rim a little bit.
These rookies feel different.
They're going.
Man, they're different, right? Look at that. There you go.
Who we got next?
All right, we're going to keep it moving. Next, Mr. Jalen Suggs.
Rookies.
On DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, my goodness. I know where this is.
Hey, and if you notice the left arm like a little, excuse me, sir.
I love that.
Let's see it again. You see it right here. Watch
Get
the
off
left
me,
arm.
bro.
Excuse me, young fella. Excuse me.
Go get stitched up. Go get stitched up.
You see DeMar DeRozan hold a chin and look at the ref like, get up. Get up.
Who's
Get
next,
up.
VC?
Mr. Jonathan Kuminga on the Mavs. Wait a minute. 1, 2. Ooh, boy, excuse me, sir.
Look at his face.
Yeah, that's a face. He said, did I get him? Yes, sir, you got it.
That's what you call snatching a screw.
Staring at the rim.
It's almost like he didn't believe that he just did what he did.
Hey, he's looking at Steph coming down the clay like confirmation. Did I get him? Yes, sir, Mr. Kuminga.
Another rookie.
And who's
All right,
next?
the next one. This is an old fella by the name of LeBron James.
Oh, I heard of him.
Is he
doing
really
LeBron
that old?
James thing. Yeah, he is.
Oh.
But not right here, catching it backwards. He don't need to look at the rim because he knows where it is. Where is it? Look at where is it?
Coordinated.
And you know, guys, here's what's crazy about this dunk. I've seen this dunk a couple of times by a couple of old fellas before. Let's roll it. It goes a little something like this.
But he double clutched it.
Yeah, and you.
I mean, it's the same idea. Look at this. Look,
Yeah, they got a little bit. He had a little of that
Vince
pop.
brought it down. That made it harder. Look at how low he brought it.
And the headband.
Same idea. Hey, and then we
crank
rev
it
it
up.
up, baby. Rev it up.
Crank it up.
Oh, all right.
So I'm gonna ask the panel. What you thinking? Who's the winner?
I mean, Perk, what do you
like
think?
it. Confused, aren't we?
You know what? I'm going with the young fella down there in the Bay. I'm going with Kuminga.
Ooh.
Catching the screws, it was real dominant. I like that.
You know how I feel about the Bay.
All right. Well, security. Well, first of all, make sure we have the bottle on ice for Mr. Perks.
Yeah,
Not me, Vince. I want
VIP guest.
I want the sparkles
You know
on
he
top.
asked for the drink. Yeah,
Bring the
he
sparkles,
asked for
light
we
it
got
up.
sparkles on it.
Give him the receipt,
Okay.
too.
It's some
So would you
fireworks.
please remove for Mr. Jonathan Kuminga? Welcome to the baby. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations,
I
bro.
picked Jonathan Kuminga for what you said, Perk, like drop step, and then next thing he was body back. He takes it to the next level. You see right here, anybody when he takes that mean first step first and then cocks it back, moves the hand out the way and just, and then he looks for that right
Damian
there.
Lee.
That's how I was like, ooh. And then he want to make sure he sees it again. Did I do what
Run
I
it
did?
back.
Yes, sir, you did.
You got to make sure
Welcome
that
to
you
the
see it
upper
on the
room, young fella.
Jumbotron. You got to make sure when you do something
Absolutely.
like that, you want to make sure you look up and say, oh yeah, I did that.
I did that.
I did that. Anthony Edwards, thank you so much for coming on NBA Today. I appreciate you stopping by. But I do want to jump right into it because your Wolves, they're currently the 7th seed in the Western Conference, and you've been a huge part of that. What's the biggest reason for your success this season?
I feel like the work that I put in this summer, I feel like that plays a major role in my play in this season.
And then the last time this team made the playoffs was in 2018. And you have to go back a couple of decades to find the last time the Wolves got out of the first round. So how confident are you that this team can not only get in, but get in and do a little bit of damage?
I'm super confident. I don't see no limit on us when we get to the playoffs. I feel like we can beat anybody. We can match up well with anybody. And I feel like if I come in locked in every day, can nobody stop us?
Well, you've had some incredible highlights over the past season and a half. So I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit here. If you had to pick one dunk, just one, which one would you consider your favorite and why?
I probably would say the one versus the Warriors.
Why?
Yeah, the one versus the Warriors last year.
Why is that?
Just because I feel like it was my best. It was my favorite dunk because I kind of cocked it back further than all my other ones.
All right. I mean, I can see that. I feel that. All right. So here's a stat for our audience here. The list of players to have 4 40-point games before turning 21. LeBron, KD, Luka, Anthony Edwards. So what does it mean to you to join that rarefied air with those guys?
It means a lot, but I'm trying to get more than all of them. What is it? What's the number? 8?
You want to get? You're trying to take it to the upper room, to the next level.
Yeah, I don't turn 21 until next season, so yeah, I'm trying to get more than 8.
So you're saying you got time. I do want to give the floor to Kendrick Perkins because he's here, and I know that he is dying to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, look, I'm a huge fan of yours. I think you're a generational talent. I think the Timberwolves are blessed. They haven't had a player like you since Kevin Garnett. Look, besides the talent, the skill sets, and everything else, I need to know, where do you get your swagger from? Because you're young, but you got an old soul. And the way that you handle your interviews, the Black Jesus comments, I'm loving all that. I love the confidence. So I want to know where you get your confidence from, man. Like, is it your upbringing or what?
Yeah, when I was young, we lived with our grandmother. So once my mother and my grandmother got sick, my granddad would take us to school every day, and he would drive super slow, like 20 miles per hour, no matter what's the speed limit. And he always like made like comments, and he always had me in the living room watching the same shows as him. So everything that I get comes from probably my grandparents for sure.
I like that. A little bit of old school swagger from some people you look up to. Before we let you go, Anthony,
sure.
I just want to get a little bit of rapid fire in here. So give us a few words. The first thing that pops into your mind with some quick hitter questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. The player you consider the hardest to guard in the league, who and why?
Myself, and because I'm unstoppable.
I love it. I love it.
That's why I rocks with you, man.
That's what you would have said, Perk, right?
Absolutely.
There
We both
you
got
go.
old souls.
The big Perk swag.
Sure.
Okay, so question number 2. You're at home. It's not a game night. You flip on League Pass. Who's the player you enjoy watching the most?
Kevin Durant.
All right, you have a few different nicknames floating out there. Ant-Man may be the most famous. Which one's your favorite?
Black Jesus.
Is there a nickname we don't know?
I love this kid. I love him. I swear I do.
Is there a nickname we don't know?
Nah, that's the new one, Black Jesus. Yeah,
Black
that's the one.
Jesus.
I feel like that's the one I'm gonna take with me for
All
sure.
right, so Perk touched on it. You've said that you're great at baseball, ping pong, football. Outside of hoops, what would you say that you're best at?
Football probably, but no one would ever find out about that. So I would say bowling. I'm pretty good at bowling. Like I haven't bowled in a long time. And when I went back home, I went to the bowling alley and I bowled 200 my second game.
All right, Perk, are you taking him on in bowling?
Yeah, I mean, I got a little swagger when it comes to bowling.
He don't want to see me in bowling.
200 is lightweight, man. That's lightweight.
He don't want to see me in bowling, man. He don't want to see me in bowling.
Look, to be honest, I don't want to see you in anything. I thought I had bars, but the way you come with your antism is beating my perkism, all right? I got to steal some of your rhyme.
I love it. All right, I'm leaving you on this one.
Man.
Flip phones or iPhones?
Flip phones.
There you have it. Anthony Edwards, thank you so much for joining us on NBA Today.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Thank you.
All right, yeah.
All right, so the Timberwolves, they have 4 tough opponents coming up. They face the Warriors, the Suns, the Jazz, and the Nuggets. However, Anthony Edwards has scored at least 25 against all of them, including a career-high 48 points against the Warriors earlier this season. So, Chiney, for those of us who haven't, or for those who are watching who haven't seen enough of Anthony Edwards this season, we see the dunks, we see the clips. What stands out to you the most about his game?
Well, we all know that Anthony Edwards is a rising star in the NBA. And so to break this down, I might need a ball. Let me grab a ball real quick. Y'all have a ball? Yeah, okay. Here's the ball. You also, Malik, are one of the rising stars of ESPN.
Yeah.
And it is her birthday, everyone.
Happy birthday.
And so we're here
birthday.
to wish our sis, surprise.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
How do you guys pull things out that I don't know about?
I don't set things up all the time.
But this is the producer Perk.
Take your goodies. These are cookies.
Oh, I love cookies. Oh, and look, it even says happy birthday.
Everyone in our crew, Hillary, Greg, producers, they want to wish you happy birthday.
Vince, thank you. I'm giving Vince a hug too.
So no breakdown, but I do have a special someone that is here to wish you happy birthday.
Uh-oh.
What up, Sis?
What up, Sis?
What's up, Kendra?
There we go.
Happy birthday. I had to come on here, of course, to wish my sis a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Meeks. I know that you're 27 years old, but it feels like you've literally lived like 4 lives already or something like that. So I am so grateful that you are now my coworker, a mentor to me, and of course, my big sis. So I figured this would be easier than like calling you on the phone or something.
That's also probably true. I don't screen your calls all the time. I just screen them when I'm
12 to 1.
12
You're
to
busy.
1.
You're busy.
But sometimes
It's
I
okay.
say like
It's
the show
okay.
extends a little longer than it does.
True.
You know? I love you, Kendra. Thank you so much. See, you guys got me all
Love you.
teary-eyed.
We love you, Malika.
I'm so proud of you, Kay. Thank you.
It's okay.
Happy birthday,
All
Malika
right,
Andrews.
well, I guess now that I have tears falling